Шановні друзі, я з таким задоволенням надам слово раднику Посольства Федеративної Республіки Нігерія в Україні пану Чікезіе Огбонна Нвачукву, який зробить якраз доповідь про проблеми та перспективи нігерійсько-українського економічного співробітництва. Якраз Нігерія – це самий великий ринок, який швидко розвивається, стрімко розвивається населення. Я чув вже ту доповідь у вересні цього року на форумі Україна, Африка, партнерство, яку зробив шановний пан радник, і ми сьогодні почуємо. Доповідь буде англійською мовою. Прошу, шановний пан радник.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, I can't speak Ukrainian or Russian yet. I think I'm beginning to see the need to do some more studies, and maybe in the next 1-2 years I could be able to say something. So pardon me, I'm going to speak in English. I thank you for being here. At least you can bail me out. Okay. It's not always very easy to sit in between scientists and researchers, professors. I think the last time I did it was some 25 years ago. I'm also glad that I have my colleague there from the foreign ministry, so it gives me some confidence. Okay, so I've been told to speak about the Nigerian economic potential, actually, and prospects for Ukrainian and Nigerian cooperation. Luckily for me, a lot of people have spoken already extensively about cooperation with Africa. My brother has capped it off, so it makes my job easier. Okay, so because they have spoken, so I will just focus on the topic I have here. Yeah, I believe, according to the program, it falls under number 4 of the conference focus, which is prospects for further development of cooperation of Ukraine with the sub-Saharan African countries. So I believe that maybe what I'm going to say will be able to address some of the questions that you will have. In recent months, there has been some acceleration in interest, relations between Nigeria and Ukraine. I think this is commendable because for years we've had relations with Ukraine. Yeah, diplomatic relations started in 2000, while the embassy was established in 2002. Relations has been cordial. We've been relating on both bilateral and multilateral levels. And because of this renewed interest, I think it is vital that we should work on building these closer relations because of the advantages it portends for both countries. In March this year, we had a forum of Africa-Ukraine Economic Forum. The forum was actually organized to try to form a platform for business people from both from Africa and Ukraine to be able to collaborate. Since then, we've received a lot of Ukrainian businessmen in the embassy who want to do business in Nigeria. I've also been invited by various Ukrainian business clubs who wanted me to speak about relationship between Ukraine and Nigeria. I'm also glad that the Ukrainian government is also has entered this vanguard and is trying to, foster these relations. Just like my colleague said, last month in May, I think 25th, there was a consultative dialogue between Ukraine and Nigeria. The deputy minister was represented in Nigeria. So, I gathered it was a very successful meeting. Of Agriculture, the former Minister of Agriculture talked about Ukraine trying to form or establish an economic zone in West Africa. Although we have not really heard much about that since then, but I think I was told that some people are still working on that. So before I go into talking about relations between Ukraine and Nigeria and the economic potentials, I want to just make a point clear. Like one speaker said, that one of the problems is that Ukrainians do not know much about Africa. And because of this lack of knowledge, it's affecting relations. I go to a lot of places and Africa is presented as a country. Like my brother said here, Africa is made up of 54 countries. A population of 1 billion people, as big as China. Yeah, but you can imagine. The youth population alone is 200 million. That is more than the population of the EU, Europe minus Russia and Ukraine. So I want you to know that these 54 countries, each of them have their own sovereignty, have their own cultures, have their own tradition and ways of doing things. For instance, my brother is from Guinea-Conakry. I've never been there. I hope to be there one of these days.
You are welcome.
So Nigeria happens to be the largest population in Africa. A population of 170 million in the last 10 years, yeah. Yeah, that was a population projected 10 years ago. So we are doing a new census, and we believe that the population now should hit 190 or 200 million. In that country, we have, just like here, we have oblasts. We have, in Nigeria, we have our own states, what we call states. And each of these states have their own legal systems, they have their own legislation and the executive governance. So within this federation, we have about 250 ethnic groups. So it's more like a collection of small countries joined together. But somehow we've managed to hold it together for years. Yes, Nigeria is a very friendly country. You traveled. Did you travel with the Deputy Minister?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm sure he will inform you about the receptions he received. It's a very friendly country and everybody is welcome to Nigeria. In fact, we have a problem in Nigeria. The problem is that we treat foreigners better than we treat ourselves. I think it's the same for other African countries as well. Okay, so Nigeria and Ukraine have been relating since the 60s. When Ukraine was in the Soviet Union, some Ukrainian specialists worked in Nigerian construction industries. And we've had many students, many Nigerian students study in Ukraine. That's about 30 years after. Yeah. Okay, so the political dialogue between both countries are carried on in the framework of various international organizations. Well, unfortunately, the trade relations has been in favor of Ukraine. Between 2011 and 2013, the trade turnover between the two countries was about $200 million. Ukrainian engineers have also taken part in vital projects in Nigeria, like the Ajokuta steel mill. It's one of the biggest steel projects that we have. Although it's not functioning at full capacity now because of some political issues, just this month, some Ukrainian engineers also left for Nigeria to go and participate in reviving that industry. Other joint venture relations we've been having are in assembling and maintenance of tractors in Nigeria. So 6 Ukrainian companies are working under such ventures now. We have the Автокрас, that's the producers of trucks, Motosich, manufacturers of electric power generators, JSC Kvaza, pardon me for bad pronunciation, the producer of solar heating systems for industrial and household needs. They are all working with Nigerian partners. Right now. We also have the Donbas Industrial Union representing the interests of leading Ukrainian iron and steel producers. They purchased majority shares in a Just Steel company. It's large Ukrainian investment in the Nigerian economy. So I just want to let you know that we have been electing. Apart from this organization, we also have individual businessmen from Ukraine investing in Nigeria right now. I know of a sugar company owned by a Ukrainian company, and some other iron roofing sheet company owned by Ukrainians, and so many other companies. So, but there are, like I said, Nigeria is a huge population and a huge market. So there is room for more cooperation. Some of those areas we could cooperate are in the areas of energy, for instance, energy, development of transport infrastructure, food processing industry, mining, road construction and building construction, agriculture, things like agro-allied industry and fertilizer production. I know that Ukraine is very good in agro-allied industry and in production of organic fertilizers. Ukraine is also advanced in the mining sector. Already we are cooperating in security and defense. At the moment we are working on a defense agreement with Ukraine. As you are aware, some of the progress that we are making in fighting insurgency in Nigeria against Boko Haram is being done with Ukrainian equipment. In 2014, Nigeria was one of the largest buyers of Ukrainian arms. We are also cooperating in various educational programs. And right now we are working on an education agreement with Ukraine. Other areas also, areas of water treatment systems. And there is also prospect of collaboration in high technology industries such as aerospace and telecommunications. Nigeria is already planning to launch a shuttle into space. So Ukraine, on the other hand, can benefit from Nigeria's rich oil and gas industry. I know that gas is an issue in Ukraine, but Nigeria has plenty of gas. So we could cooperate in that area. We can also cooperate in the banking industry. Nigerian banking industry has been able to develop to a very high standard. And just like my brother said, we have an array of raw materials in Africa that you can tap from. And in Nigeria, it's also, we have agricultural products, and then other raw materials and non-oil sector, like solid minerals. For instance, we have large deposits of coal, we have large deposits of bitumen, phosphate, and other solid minerals. However, just like my colleague said, relations can work when individuals, business people are pursuing such business arrangements. But it's always faster if there are some legal basis, especially diplomatically fostered.
Yeah.
So we have been working on some agreements with the Ukrainian government for some years now. We have only been able to sign one, and I'm happy you are here in this meeting. Maybe you should be able to bring our thoughts to your ministry that we need some of these agreements signed. It will help to foster these business relations. Currently, we are working on a joint commission agreement with Ukraine. I'm aware that that agreement has been sent to Nigeria. We sent it to Ukraine some years ago. Recently, it's been brought back with some amendments, and we've sent it to Nigeria. And I believe that it will soon be signed. Other agreements are agreements on science and technology, economic and trade relations. And you can see with me that if we are able to sign some of these agreements, it will build a basis for better relations between the two countries. Now, one of the other areas is that some of the businessmen coming from Ukraine have expressed fears about investing in Nigeria. I know when you listen to the news, you hear Boko Haram, you hear Niger Delta Avengers, you hear this and that. But I think we should be able to also separate between media sensationalism and real events, because the media want to sell their papers, they want to sell their news, so they can paint a lot of pictures. I'm not saying that there are no problems. There are problems, but it is not as it is painted. Let me give you an example. When the Ukrainian crisis started and the war in Donbass, if you tune on to the CNN and all those, it looks as if the whole of Ukraine has been taken over. People were calling me from United States, from Nigeria, other African countries, and asking me, "What are you doing there? You should pack your things and go." But I was in my house drinking coffee. You wouldn't know there's a problem in Ukraine. The only way you know there's a problem is that if you go to the shops, you discover that the prices of things have gone up. And if you go to the bank and they will refuse to give you some of your money. So it's the same thing in Nigeria. When you go to Nigeria, you go to Abuja or Lagos, you wouldn't know there's anything called Boko Haram. There's no, Boko Haram is just a state in Maiduguri. So if you invest in the right place and you are in the right place, you wouldn't have any problem. And that is why the embassy exists. If you are going to Nigeria to invest, for instance, and you come, we'll be able to tell you this and this, this is where not to go, this is where to go. And then you will invest and enjoy your investment. So I will guarantee you that your investment will be protected and safe if you will invest in the right way. Also, security of lives and property, it's if you are in the right place, you are secured, because in every country of the world right now, there is some risk to lives and property. You know about the event in the United States just this week. People in a nightclub were shot dead, but that was the United States. So it's everywhere. Fortunately, Ukraine and Nigeria have a lot of things in common. So I should think that Ukrainian businessmen should be able to survive in Nigeria more than any other person. Ease of doing business, from registration of companies and setting up of business, it's being worked on, and it's easier than it used to be now. The current government that we have, which came into power last year, is seriously working to tackle corruption, and it's getting a lot of results. One of the other problems we have in Nigeria is the problem of power, that is electricity. The good news there is that the current government has liberalized the sector. So anybody?
You have 2 minutes. Okay, so anybody can come in and set up a machinery to generate electricity and make money out of it. Yeah. So as I'm speaking, there are a lot of Americans, English, Chinese, Asians, and others doing business in Nigeria. I believe that the Ukrainian business sector can also break through if they will only become more interested. As a mission, we are there for you, to advise you and to help you in any way you want help. Nigeria is ready, and the current government is also very encouraging in this area. I think at this moment is the best opportunity that we have to build better relations. You know that Ukrainians are very good in science and technology. They're also very good in computers, agriculture. We could work together. Every country have an area of comparative advantage. If we cooperate together, I think we'll be able to build not just better relationship, but a prosperous relationship. The Ukrainians can also take advantage of the various incentives that the government is giving, like tax incentives, access to land, reduced import duties, and the opportunities that are given to pioneer industries. So I hope to see better relations between both countries. I hope to see a lot of Ukrainians in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Дякую за увагу.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible one question?
Okay, thank you.
What is your opinion? Is it possible that some small group of our Ukrainian scientists visit Nigeria, two participants, some scientific seminar conference? They have a small but very professional, skillful scientific group. and it's possible to start to launch some scientific relations between Ukrainian scientists and Nigerian scientists. I will be very thankful for you for such question, if it's possible, decide in some manner.
Yes, it's possible, and it's actually welcome.
Let us start.
Yeah, it's welcome, yes.
We are ready. We are a small group, but we can.
I think we can do that,
Represent
yeah.
our Ukrainian science
Okay,
in sphere of African investigations.
okay,
In
okay.
sphere of investigations of our Institute of World History Research.
It's a nice idea. I think we should be able to talk more on that so that we can start working on it.
Let us start.
Okay.
Thank you.
Отже, я так зрозумів, що нам потрібно конкретно проговорити, відпрацьовувати механізм реалізації цієї ідеї, дуже важливої для нас, так? І з посольством Нігерії, і з... Так. І я думаю, що пан Чікезіе якраз буде нашим таким промоутером у цій справі. Дуже дякуємо ще раз, шановний інформаційний. Так, але, шановні друзі, ви ж розумієте, час не безмірний. Ну, добре.
Okay, just like I said, the forum that we had, the business forum between Ukraine and Nigeria, right now they are working on modalities for setting up that platform. And I believe that right now it's a moment of seriousness for both of us. And we believe we could work it out. Even this idea that you are bringing, that Madam is bringing, we can work it out. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chikezie, now we know that Nigeria is very rich on gas deposits. And do you know, are there any Ukrainian investments in Nigerian gas industry? Or does Ukraine buy Nigerian gas? Or are there any negotiations on this issue? And if yes or not, what are the major restrictions, obstacles to this cooperation in this gas industry?
Right now, I'm not aware that Ukraine buys Nigerian gas. As you are aware, for some years, most of the Ukrainian gas focus has been on Russia. But with the situation on hand, I think some people are making moves. Somebody already approached me on that issue. One of the problems I should think is the problem of distance between Nigeria and Ukraine. For now, we might not be able to build gas tunnels but we could find, based on the fact that the gas might not be so expensive, we could begin to, if we have a good arrangement, we could begin to transport such product. I know that there are some places in Poland, for instance, where some of those gas, some depots where those gas can be brought, and then from there to Ukraine. It's just a matter of working out modalities, and then we'll be able to build in some discounts so that Ukraine can have enough gas. I think that some of the problem in business is if you are not diversified in your purchases of supplies, you will always have problem. But if you have various suppliers at each point in time, you will not have any problems with gas, yes. So if we see Ukrainians that are interested in that sector, we can encourage them and they can work with the federal government, work out a modality for it.
So far there is no interest from Ukrainian side or
For now, yeah. Except some people have indicated that they might want to go into it, but we don't have any concrete arrangement now. Yes.
Я як історик не можу не скористатись можливістю отримати інформацію з перших рук. Суть питання наступна. Що хочу зрозуміти. В чому проблема з Боко Харамом? В чому проблема з ним? З Боко Харамом? Конкретно, чого вони добиваються?
What is the problem with Boko Haram? Is separatism or business or other problems? Because this is a historian and he would like to know about this.
Okay. Now, okay, let me also try to speak like a historian. Nigeria had independence in 1960. And after independence in 1960, in 1967, there was a civil war between the east, southeast, and south-south, and the rest of Nigeria. Okay, yes, the small republic that was declared at that time is Biafra. Maybe you've heard of it. So after that, the reason for that war actually was because there was a military coup. And some top government officials from the north were killed during the coup. So there was some reprisal attacks, and then it built up into a war. And then the governor of the Central Eastern State declared the state of Biafra. So from that time on, we've been having democracy on and off, with the military making incursions into government through coups. You know that the military are not built to be in power. So because of that, a lot of things went wrong. A lot of people were ignored. A lot of people were marginalized. So when the current democracy started in 1999, all the groups that were marginalized started agitating. So it started with the Niger Delta group that were agitating. They wanted their own, they wanted to manage their oil resources. And then after that, the Boko Haram came up from the north. A lot of them are those who were marginalized either in education, either in the resources. So most of the problems that you are seeing in Nigeria is because, during the military regime, the military suppressed all the groups. Now that is civilian regime, the groups are now trying to, come up. So that is what the problem is. But with the government now in place, gradually some of these groups are being sorted out. The government is talking to the Niger Delta Avengers now. And as you are aware, Boko Haram has actually been almost been demobilized, except for few attacks. So I believe that with time, all these issues will be a thing of the past. And the government also is beginning to address reasons for these uprisings. Things like education, things like health, and other youth programs. So with that, we believe that those youths who are easily used as tools to foment problem will be gainfully employed doing something, and then they won't have time to be agitating. So it's not a political group, it's not a religious group, it's a group of marginalized people who are disgruntled, young people who are disgruntled, who want to to show government that look, we exist. You should come and do something.
Це не релігійні організації, не політичні групи, це групи людей, молодих людей, які хочуть показати уряду, що вони існують, щоб на них звернули увагу.
So unfortunately, you know how this crisis begin. When it begins, some other people, politicians, will buy into it, and before you know it, it has escalated. So it actually began as a harmless group.
Це почалося з груп, які не причиняли великої шкоди.
So some people now bought into it and started using it to foment trouble.
Є ще питання до шановного пана радника? Немає, да? Шановні друзі, дозвольте мені від нашого імені подякувати за таку дуже цікаву доповідь про перспективи могутнього нігерійського